see. I'm told, what do we have? The finalists for MVP?
The finalists for MVP have just come in. They are the 5 names, 5 players. Quarterback award usually, and it's Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake Maye, Matthew Stafford, and Christian McCaffrey, the one non-quarterback nominated to be the MVP that will be given out at the NFL Honors Ceremony next month in San Francisco.
The last I saw of this, Stafford is the favorite at DraftKings. Do I have that right, Hembo, or did that not flip? It's Stafford still, right? Stafford followed by Maye. Is that right? Yeah. So Stafford followed by Maye. And those two seem to have separated themselves.
And those are the 2 favorites to meet in the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
Both are favorite right now. Well, actually, the Rams are underdogs in Seattle.
The Rams are a slim underdog. And the Broncos are a heavy underdog at home based on the injury to the quarterback. So right now, if you had an MVP vote, it would go to?
It's tough. 51% to Drake Maye.
51-49 Maye.
Last week it was Matt Stafford, so I change every week.
So let the record show this, of course, is a regular season.
I don't have a vote.
I know that you know this.
Very clear.
But for anyone, in case they're wondering, these votes have long since been cast.
Yes.
This is a regular season award. The voting is done at the end of the regular season. So at that point, who would you have said?
Matthew Stafford.
Stafford, you think, is the MVP of the league?
Don't even ask Dan, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you think it's Stafford. No, it's not. It's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's your guy and whatever.
I voted for Josh.
He's a perfectly legitimate. You voted for Josh Allen.
Hold on, breaking news.
I just figured, why not turn it a little bit more?
Yeah. He also took himself out of contention to be the head coach of the Bills a second ago. If you were listening about not hiring the quarterback's friends. That's breaking news, is it not? Dan Orlovsky out as the head coach.
Will is not here. Let's leave those comments.
Right. Also breaking news, Dan is not getting the offensive coordinator job with the Lions.
There you go.
Congratulations to those guys. Well deserved.
Now we know all the things Dan is not going to be doing next year. I think, I don't know, I don't have any inside knowledge of this. I think Stafford is going to win. The sense I get of it is that Stafford is going to win for most of the people that I hear from, which is why, as we discussed in our first hour today, I think Stafford has more than just a championship in his sights here. I think Stafford, if he in the span of the next couple of weeks manages to win an MVP and a second Super Bowl, he is a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Here's my question. As somebody who knows Matthew Stafford, I hope you don't mind me putting you on the spot. He wins the MVP. He wins the Super Bowl. Does he go out on top that way?
I would bet that would be the case. I have absolutely no knowledge if that's his reality. But I think if he has that storybook ending with where he is with his family and whatnot, I think that makes a lot of sense.
That would be an interesting one. Very few Hall of Famers have won the championship in their final games. John Elway has won. We did
Michael
this list.
Strahan, Jerome Bettis
won. Yeah, Strahan is in. So the list gets a little bit longer.
For the Rams.
He'd be.
I didn't play high school basketball.
Oh, you didn't make the team.
I wasn't athletic enough. Didn't try
You're
out.
Tall.
Didn't try out.
You would think you would have made it.
I ran a
31. In case you were wondering.
You scored 31 points in a high school game?
29 in the second half.
In a high school game?
In a high school game.
Well,
pretty good.
I mean, I think we know the position, right?
2 guard. 3. A flex 3. What are you talking about?
Certainly no post game.
Okay. Let's move on from that, shall we? Did I mention that Jessica Pegula is still very much involved in the Australian Open? She's on to round 3. She'll play
I'd like
Saturday.
to hear from Jessica Pegula more than I would Terry.
Of all the members of the Pegula family, she maybe is the one that we want to hear from right now. Yesterday in Buffalo, we were listening to her father playing the blame game. This was quite a remarkable day. The Bills owner, Terry Pegula, taking questions for the first time in at least 6 years in the wake of his decision to fire head coach Sean McDermott. In the eyes of most, it did not go well. This was Pegula explaining how and why he came to that decision after the loss in Denver that featured the controversial interception. We felt the need to leave all of it in here for context. None of this is edited at all. These were his remarks.
My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver. I want to take you in the locker room after that game. I looked around. First thing I noticed was our quarterback with his head down, crying. I looked at all the other players. I looked at their faces and our coaches. I walked over to Josh. He didn't even acknowledge I was there. First thing I said to him, I said, "That was a catch." We all know what I'm talking about. He didn't acknowledge me. He just sat there sobbing. He was listless. He had given everything he had to try to win that game. And looking around, so did all the other players on the team. I saw the pain in Josh's face at his presser, and I felt his pain. I know we can do better, and I know we will get better.
Harry, you mentioned that you thought it was a catch and told Josh it was a catch. Why would you fire a coach based on a bad officiating decision?
I did not fire a coach based on a bad officiating decision. If I can take you into that locker room, I felt like we hit the proverbial playoff wall year after year.
So look, Terry Pegula is a brilliant man, obviously, right? He is a self-made billionaire, but that was somewhat startlingly poorly handled, I think, in the eyes of practically everyone. Schefter, what was your reaction to what we saw yesterday, and what reaction did you hear from people across the league?
We obviously don't hear from Terry Pegula very often. This is a very rare instance. And I think it's situations like this that you're reminded why you don't hear from people like this very often, because they're not used to that setting. They say more than they should. They run over people that they shouldn't. This, as we talked about in the first hour, should have been a very simple statement. We hit the proverbial playoff wall, and we are making changes to try to get over that wall. Put that in your mind and just keep saying that over and over and over again. And instead, he goes into all these other explanations that are damaging to coaches, front office members, players. It's too much. And he's not used to being in that sit. That's not his strength. He's a brilliant, successful billionaire. But that doesn't mean that he is going to be short and succinct in the messaging that he should be delivering about his team.
Yeah, and the whole idea of taking us inside the locker room, and you guys were players.
Only Sal Paolantonio can say, let me take you inside the locker room, right. Not Terry Pegula.
That's right. that did not, from what I can sense, that has not sat well with almost any former player I've heard from.
Absolutely not, because that's not your place to take anybody in the locker room, to justify the decisions that you're making, and even the reasoning that you're giving, because Josh Allen didn't acknowledge you. If that was the case, Taylor Lewan would have fired Will Compton when The Rock walked by, right? That's not how business is done.
Right.
And I will say this, as the owner, it seems like he watched Bisciotti's press conference and was like, oh, okay, he's had such good remarks and feel about that, I will do the same thing. And it's gone horribly wrong. I left this press conference actually feeling sorry for Sean McDermott, because I feel like it unearthed a lot of some dysfunction that we didn't even know was there. Because Sean McDermott has been such a good coach and such a staple and pillar of the franchise, that I feel like his approval rating has now gone up. This has the makings for a Bills fall off, because the days leading up to now, since the playoff loss, think about the things that have happened. You fire your coach, players are crying and sobbing in the press conferences. He's not addressed. You don't put out a statement for Sean McDermott. The players are mad and voicing that on social media all the way up into this press conference. It has bad makings, and we've seen it before.
I love his honesty in a lot of what he says. I love, because this is a unique team and organization that has legit, we can win the Super Bowl aspirations on an annual basis. There's 32 teams in the league. There's probably 6 or 8 that truly believe that they should and can win the Super Bowl. So I do believe that we just felt the emotional reality from the owner of, again, we were so close again. I don't believe he handled it the right way. There's a lot of stuff that he was all over the place on, but I do think there's truth to it. And this is the reality, the expectations of this place. And I know, and I saw your tweet, Greeny, and in the moment, I agreed with it when you were like, whew, somehow he made this job less attractive. After a couple hours of just letting the emotion of the press conference kind of dwindle away, it's still the most attractive job along with Baltimore.
Because of Josh.
Because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
But I also would say this in 2 parts. One, you better not hire the quarterback's friends. That's a mistake. You can't just hire somebody because you think he's going to be liked by Josh and it'll be a good relationship with Josh. Comfort is not what you need in Buffalo right now. You're not going to get over that final hump because you hire somebody that's buddy-buddy with Josh. The second thing is, whoever you hire better be Teflon tough, man, because you can go to divisional round and stink. You'll get fired like that. You have to have somebody that knows you are walking into the hornet's nest because the expectations cannot be higher.
Yeah, they made it very clear that they hit the playoff wall, the proverbial playoff wall. So the expectation is that the next coach is going to, lead the horse to water. Now he's got to make him drink. So I agree. Expectations are high. We'll also get into a little later in this hour, because we have some breaking news. We'll get into how the owner used a lot of